All right, y'all. Welcome to this episode of Rougie Ruminations and Revelations. This episode is really going to be for anybody who is on their journey of abstinence or celibacy. And if you ever have been looking to articulate or make sense of or find a way to express what that means for you and what the importance of it is, this is me sharing my journey thus far and how I arrived here to where I'm at right now with this process. Welcome to Rougie Ruminations and Revelations. You've arrived, and I'm glad you're here. In this podcast, we talk about and acknowledge the interconnected web of thoughts that may spiral or ruminate through the mind at times, and the revelations that we may come into that shift, expand, and create clarity in the awareness through mental download, conversation, experience, or increased self-awareness. We're going to work the mind fascia. Is that a thing? Let's make it one if it's not. Enjoy. Welcome to Rougie Ruminations and Revelations. My name is Keena, and I'm your host. Let me light a candle. Get you a sip of water. I got my cup here. Got a nice full cup of water. I hope you took your vitamins this morning. I hope you didn't skip breakfast. I hope you spent some time setting your intentions this morning for how you want your day to roll. You know, knowing that you're the alchemist of your day, of your journey, of your dreams and desires. That is you, okay? So good morning or good day. It's morning for me here, so that's why I'm saying good morning. But whatever time it is for you, welcome. I'm glad you're here. So yeah, we're going to talk about sex, specifically the absence of sex. We're going to talk about the not part of sex, like the not having it. We're going to talk about celibacy or abstinence. Let me look here. I want to see. I was going to check something real quick. Let me see celibacy versus abstinence. Let me tell y'all what the definition is of the two, the difference between the two, because I don't know. And I have looked this up a million times. And it just doesn't stick. It don't stick in my brain. So it says abstinence is the decision not to have penetrative sex. It is typically limited to a specific period of time, such as until marriage, whereas celibacy is a vow to remain abstinent over an extended period of time. So they're basically the same, except one is like related to the end game of marriage, and then the other one, celibacy, it can be related to a specific venture in life. Like it could be related to a goal that you have or certain conditions being met that's not specifically marriage. But both of them mean that you ain't getting none and you ain't giving up none either. So why do I want to talk about that today? Because I'm a single woman. I'm a single mother. Last year in 2021, I decided to not have sex anymore until certain conditions came about. Not related to marriage, but related to relationships. I'm a monogamous person. And so I would rather, if I'm supposed to be with somebody, I would rather go ahead and meet that person or be with that person so we can hurry up and get to the 50 years. So we can get to the 25, the 50, the 75 year mark, okay? I would rather start now. However, I also don't like to do things just to get them done. It has to be for a purpose and a reason. So it's like if I'm going to be with someone, then let it be the right person. Let it be a good fit where we're in a position to where we're willing to grow in those areas. Okay, but what does that have to do with sex? I was just telling you that I'm not necessarily celibate to become married, but I am celibate to become aligned properly with who I'm supposed to be aligned with clarity and with intention and with purpose and with understanding and all of those things, okay? Let me talk about it. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the story. I remember last year I was talking, like not talking to somebody, but like I literally had a conversation. I was on the phone with this guy who wanted to meet me and he wanted to take me on a date. So I was like, yeah, sure, we can go on a date. You're driving from out of town, so I just want to make sure that the date ends at a proper time so that you can get home, unless you're going to, go stay somewhere that night. You ain't coming here. And he was like, well, but we grown. Why do people say, well, we grown? Like, I know we grown. What does that even mean? But yeah, so I was just like, I want to make sure that, that you're going to be okay to drive back home to your town that you live in safely, because otherwise, if it gets too late and you get tired, then at least you need to make sure that you're prepared to buy yourself a room, unless you know somebody who lives here, because my place is not an option for you. And then he was like, but what if we're having a good time and this and that and the other? And I was just like, well, if we're having a good time, then we can there's room for us to have more good times, but you need to still go home. There's a couple of red flags to me, because number one, it's like, well, why is that like why didn't the conversation move on? Like, after I said that, like, you stuck here. Okay, so that's already let me know this must be what you're already on. And I'm glad that I set expectations so that you didn't come down here like, feeling away when I'm like, okay, it's time for you to go home. But somebody would travel from out of town and feel like they're entitled to my body, okay, when they're not, because I'm literally not interested in having sex with you at all. Like, it's not something I want to do, because that would just serve that immediate desire. I don't want to say need, but that would just serve that immediate desire if that was what I was on. Basically, I just explained, if sex is the priority, especially if we have good sex, then I might be tempted to stay interacting with you, stay, having a sort of a relationship with you that I know isn't going anywhere. Like, I might stay involved in the sort of relationship, even if it gets to a point where I realize, oh my gosh, this relationship, this situation, whatever you want to call it, it does not have any opportunity or space to grow. It is not a good match. Once you include sex in the mix, it clouds it. It's like a clouding of your judgment, because the convenience and the satisfaction, the gratification, takes precedence over common sense for a lot of people. And I can also say for myself, when I was younger, I definitely had those experiences where I stayed for the sex, That's the reason why I stayed. And I'm just not interested in living like that. I'm not interested in taking on those type of complications as I move forward in life. So I would rather put it on hold, get to know somebody with a clear frame of mind, with clear judgment, so that I can decide based upon the qualities of their character if that's somebody who I would like to take things to the next step with. He might be a good person, but just not for me, or vice versa. He might not like me. I was like, you might not like me. And I said, I have enough respect for you, and I definitely have enough respect for myself to not want to waste your time. If I know that there's no potential for the two of us to go any further, I would be robbing you if I continue to interact with you because I wanted to have sex with you. But I know that we will not go further. You deserve better, and so do I. And so that's the long-term vision that I can see, that if you entertain the short-term brain, the short-term gratification, you might miss that. You might not have that sight of the vision, the long-term vision. You know what I mean? It's like, if I say to myself, I want to do one pull-up, or I want to do a handstand, you have to see that even though if I can't do it today, and if I can't do it tomorrow, or even next week or next month, I'm going to do it because I'm going to make small incremental strides towards it right now and throughout. I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to keep my eye on the prize. I'm going to focus on that long-term vision, that long-term goal. So because I cannot be distracted by some good sex, I can have good sex with the person who I'm manifesting whenever that person is revealed to me in whatever way that looks like. That is what I see for myself and deserve. Now, not everybody wants to worry about the long-term person right now, and that is okay. Some people have met somebody, went home with them on the first day, or to a hotel, whatever, or went somewhere with them on the first day to the back of the car, okay? Or the front seat of the car, I don't know, and have a beautiful, long, loving relationship. And I'm just saying that for me, insanity for Keena is doing the same thing over and over again. And if what you've been doing ain't working, like, listen, is enough the fact that I'm even willing to keep making an effort to date, because I'm the kind of person where when my heart is broken, I will be like, I'm going to never date again. I'm done forever. And so then I have to take time and remind myself that practice is what gets you to the result. So I have to practice. I have to keep on putting myself out there in the sense of taking these chances and doing this work. I think the good news is that, you know, the pre-screening and all of the dating stuff that you have to do when you're trying to meet someone and whatnot. The good news is that the more I practice, the sharper my eye is. The more quickly I can discern when something is right or isn't right. I think that with the practice, my understanding develops more. I have more practice. I know, okay, I can be a little bit more flexible in this area. Or, oh, you know what? I need to really tighten up on my standards and my values in that area. So I think that is one of the benefits to continually practicing and to keep putting myself out there. It's new, okay, because again, I haven't gone on any dates. You know, I've been on this dating app, this dating website, but I haven't gone on any dates with anybody who I have met on this website. But I have done meet and greets over the phone or over the video chat. That was how I met the one guy who I was like, oh, you know what, like you a little too focused on your horny needs at this moment. You're not really too focused on me. I said I could be anybody. The way that you are right now, the way that you're just too focused on just having sex, I could be anybody and you would have sex with me. And I don't want to engage in sexual activity with somebody who will have sex with just anybody. I want you to want to be with specifically me. Okay, I wrote a poem that said, I ain't gonna read the poem on here, but I wrote a poem. I'm performing on, this is January that I'm recording this. So, hey, if you are listening to this in January of 2022 and you're local, I am performing the poem that I wrote. The first line that I wrote in the poem was really about this. The poem is a freaky poem called Addicted that I wrote. And the first line of the poem really speaks to that primary message. I don't want to have sex with somebody who will have sex with just anybody just to fulfill don't let me be just another vessel for you to masturbate yourself in. If that's the case, go pay for a prostitute. That is why prostitutes are in business. Don't use me. Pay for a prostitute. If you have those expectations when you spend time with women, pay for an escort or a prostitute. I feel like they're legitimate businesses and you should pay for those businesses, those services, if that's what you have the expectation of. Earlier when I said somebody would have the expectation of having entitlement to my body. No. If that's the case, then go ahead and pay for somebody and let that be your agreement. Okay, let it be an agreement and pay for it. But other than that, no, don't let me be just something. I want you to specifically be excited about specifically me. You know what I mean? Like not just anybody, any woman. Because to me, in that case, you'll screw anything. You'll screw a doorknob. Is that what they say? You'll screw anything, even a doorknob. Something like that. I don't know how the saying goes. The point is, part of that interest and desire for me is selfish. I guess selfish, not sharing, because like nobody has to worry about sharing me. Why can't I have that same thing extended back to me? Why can't it be reciprocated? For example, me, it's like if I'm rocking with you, like you excite me. If I'm rocking with you, then it's like my joy and excitement comes from the way that I experience joy and excitement is not just the way that you physically can please or satisfy, but it's also because of the way that you know me, the way that you understand me, the way that my body responds to you. Beyond just the physical, the way that my heart rate speeds up when I hear your name or your voice. When your name comes across the screen of my phone, my heart beats different. There's all of these responses that my entire system goes through. And it's like, why? I want that same thing when it comes to me. I want to be chosen every single day. You choose me today, you choose me tomorrow, choose me every day. Make a conscious decision to choose me. Let that be your Groundhog's Day. Choose me every single day, like Groundhog's Day. Ooh, that's a bar. What? I'm gonna put that in one of my poems. You heard it here first. Rouge Ruminations and Revelations. Choose me every day like Groundhog's Day. Even though you don't choose Groundhog's Day every day, but Groundhog's Day is every day, right? In the movie. Janae Aiko, her video to Wherever You Go. Watch that music video. It was like Groundhog's Day and every day. Oh my God. While I'm thinking about it, I'm like, geez, what a love story. Every day, dude had to come into the restaurant and make her fall in love with him every single day. Like, he chose her every day. And likewise, she chose him every 24 hours. Her memory reset. That's so cool. That was based off of a movie, wasn't it? I'm just asking. I don't know. But that's dope. I like that story because it really represents the fact that, like, when you're committed, right? Like, you choose them every day. And it might look different every day. Watch the video. What? That's so dope. That just brought me joy just now. Like, I just felt it through my entire body. Choose me every day like Groundhog's Day. Every day might not be exactly the same, but every day you have the chance to fall in love with this person again and again and again, and you get to do it in different ways. That's dope. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the energy, it's the effort, it's the intention, the purpose, right? Like, he knew every day I'm going to get up, I'm going to go get my girl. Every day they vibe, they connected. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to, that's enough. That's enough, Keena. That's it, girl. Give Keena, move on. Let me move on because I'm starting to rant. I love that video. Watch it if you haven't. I'm going to put in the link to the show notes. So, like, I need to be very specific about what I want. And, you know, you got men who will come around and try to tell you, oh, your standards are too high, you asking too much. Just tell me that's just too much for you and move out of my way, okay? If you tell me I'm asking too much, I'm asking too much of you. To who? Who am I asking too much to? To you. Okay, if you're telling me, oh, your standards are too high, you being too rigid, no, I'm not. Because I'm not going to ask for anything that I'm not willing to provide. Now, why would somebody be able to get all the great things that I have to offer, all the best of me, the goodness of me, and then me have to be like, well, I can't expect somebody to meet those same things for me, the same type of qualities for me. I'm not asking you to have this particular height, weight, age, sex, location. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for quality. And I deserve that. What's up with the humans that try to talk you out of your visions and your dreams and your goals? What's up with them people? And again, that simply comes down to somebody not understanding or seeing the vision that God gave to you. Somebody not understanding the vision that was delivered, that was downloaded into you. It's just not for them to see it, and that's okay. What's not okay, though, is them trying to talk you out of what they can't see or understand. Like, why would I let somebody who ain't never built a house before talk me out of building a house if I know that that's what I'm supposed to do? No, I'm going to go talk to somebody who built a house, okay? But unfortunately, the way that, I don't know, do I want to say like the dating culture or the reality? I don't know how I want to put it, but unfortunately, people feel like they're entitled to your body just because they drove an hour to town or because they spent time with you to get to know you. And it's like, for some people, it's okay because I want to get to know you. I'm looking for a long-term mate, a lifetime partner. But some people are like, I'm just looking for tonight. And that's fine. Whatever people are looking for. And that's where it's important to be aligned in your values, your goals, your motivations. And also not only to be aligned, but to communicate those things, right? So you can tell somebody, hey, you know, like I'm at a point in my life where I'm just not having sex with people just off the strength of course I could if I wanted to. And if I wanted to, I would, all of those things. But I don't want to because I have a different type of vision in my mind than just that immediate desire. Those immediate fulfilling physical wishes, you know, that's not what I want. I'm not interested in short-term gratification or immediate gratification in that way. Not at the expense, not if it's a sacrifice to the long-term goal. And it doesn't have to be, because I'm not saying that, oh, if you have sex with somebody right away, then it's going to immediately ruin your chances of getting to know them or building something long-term for them. But I'm just saying, personally for me, what I really want is to be able to experience and be a witness to, within my own life, intimacy that has nothing to do with sex, physical, like that, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, let me back it up a little further. In my history, I have a history of having relationships with men who had substance abuse or were dependent on substance dependencies. Do I want to put it like that? Like where they were dependent on either being high or being drunk. And to me, At this point in my life, I associate that with not being present. And if for me it's important to be present, then I cannot engage with someone who has to check out of reality or who has to numb themselves or take off, their edge. I also stopped drinking last year too. I didn't even realize that it would support the decision to become celibate or abstinent. Let me see. I can't remember which one I'm supposed to use. Celibate. It wasn't even like I didn't realize that me giving up alcohol would further support the decision to be celibate, because the decision to be celibate came way before that. And then I decided to give up alcohol like in August or September, I think, whatever month it was either August or September. I gave up alcohol, and months before that, I knew I'm going to be giving up alcohol this year. And so I gave it up, and I don't know how long I'm going to give up alcohol for. It was trying to see something. I'm working on something. But at this point, I just don't know when I would start drinking again if I do. I really wasn't drinking that much at all, but I did drink more during the pandemic. Socially, me and my friends, whatever, we drank more. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off. I think overall I would say, like, if I was to look back at the whole process, like first sitting down with my journal and making my journal entry, and then to writing my prayer. And then you get into the decision to become celibate. And then the decision to stop drinking. Those were all like small decisions that I made along the way, constantly refining over the course of the last year or so to help me become more of who I want to be as a lover, partner, wife, mother, businesswoman. Helping align me to those things, like the way that I want to show up in relationships of all sorts, as a daughter, as a mother, as a lover, friend, homie, lover, friend, in all of those ways. It's so interesting the way that I've slowly been doing these things that on their own seem like this one little thing, but those decisions all supported the ultimate decision that I laid out here in my journal. Like all of those small things, they all supported that ultimate goal, because it was refining. It was like I made small refinements. Okay, you get this thing done. Okay, I did that. Okay, that gave me clarity upon this. Last year, my 3 focuses was clarity, wisdom, and joy. This year, surrender, acceptance, and accountability. Those are the 3 words that set the framework for 2022 for me. And we can talk about that on another episode, but my awareness, my eyes are open, like my glasses, y'all, like it's like my glasses the prescription is on point, okay? I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. What's the rest? I can see all obstacles in my way. What? Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. Oh, he's preaching. What? Jimmy Cliff is preaching, y'all. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Lord, here we go again. I can see all obstacles in my way. I can see all of that BS. I can see all that BS. Oh my God. He said it's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. And he was never lying, y'all. He ain't never lied, okay? All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. Y'all, he wrote a testimony. Ugh. Look all around. There's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead. There's nothing but blue skies. Oh my God. That is beautiful. He snapped with that song. Like that's literally all he says. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Now that the rain has gone, the clouds and all of that haze is gone. Now I can see. Now I see. And guess what? Now when you see, you know what to do. You know what you got to do. You ain't just stumbling and walking blindly. It ain't that no more. You can't use that as an excuse anymore. Okay? You see straight ahead. Lord, thank you. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving here. But these are all things that are connected. So yeah, so the fact that you have to set expectations with people if that's your goal, right? Because I want to set myself up for success, right? You want to set yourself up for success. You don't have to even explain like all of the reasons why it's your personal goal. You don't have to explain all those things because everybody is not going to necessarily understand your vision. So you don't have to say, hey, I want to be, because what some people might do is try to poke holes in your vision or find, what is the word? They might want to find cheat codes to the vision, shortcuts, cheat codes, or look for contradictions within it, okay? And the truth is that your vision might have all of those things somewhere in them, right? Computers come with their fail safes. Even the best designed, most flawless creation is going to come with, I don't want to say a get out of jail free card, but I'll say like it's going to come with something, the just in case, right? So, it's like, you might be hearing my vision and see all of those things, but I'm telling you my vision because I'm trying to set myself up for success. You're hearing my vision perhaps, and when I say you, I'm saying like the guy, right? Or other people in your life, they might be hearing your vision and they might be looking for ways to tear it apart. You just don't know. And you know how people say your vision ain't for everybody and everybody ain't meant to come with you on it. And something like celibacy, it's a solo type of vibe. However, you find somebody, you eventually, right? If your goal is to have celibacy, let's say for the sake of intimacy, for the sake of being connected in a different type of a way, because let's say I already know how to connect with somebody physically. I know that I enjoy having sex. I love that part. I love the benefits of it, but that's not good enough for me. It's just not good enough anymore. It's like, that's what I want. Yeah, I want that. It's an important part of a relationship, but it's not the only part. What happens when I'm on my period? And what happens if the person who I'm with, let's say that they have physical limitations to where we cannot have sex as often as I would like to or as they would like to. Physical limitations such as erectile dysfunction, okay? I'm 30, how old am I? 34? I'm 34 years old, okay? Men who have lived a certain type of life, they might have some consequences to the life they lived in their younger days. That thing might not work the way, the way that I might want it to work, and I know that for many people, that wouldn't be a barrier because, that mouth still knows what to do. However, nonetheless, the point is that it doesn't have to always be about that. If you can find ways, like, let's put it in the sense of food, okay? If you know how to cook, you won't be limited to just chicken and waffles, okay? You won't be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to cook anything else. No, you practice getting to know one another, seeing one another, being intimate emotionally, mentally, in every way that's not physical with one another. Then you have more ingredients in the kitchen to cook with, okay? You can cook with the seasonings and the spices. You might be able to do something real nice with some onions and celery and a little bit of lemon, okay? You might figure out how to cut the top off of the onion, stick it back into the dirt, and grow it some more. You know how to be resourceful, okay? Creative without feeling like you are suffering, okay? And if sex is the crutch, if that is the base level, if that is the first floor of the building you're building, if that is the basement, and then you still got to build the first floor, second floor, third floor, and the attic. If your basement is sex, then you done missed a whole bunch on the way, to building your house. Your foundation is limiting. It's a limitation, and your foundation might be limited. I feel like part of that practice is giving yourself room to curate your abilities as a chef, as a artist. If you only use these primary colors, if you only draw portraits, maybe you start using the smudging tool, getting more tools in the basket, okay? So then nobody has to suffer. Nobody feels like they're settling then, because it's not the one and only. That's my thought process behind that. It's like, build up your foundation, curate the menu as a chef or as a cook, maybe an artist, so that you have more tools to work with. Maybe you sew. You might learn a few more stitches so that you're not so reliant, so dependent on that one stitch. Okay. The more you know, the more things that you practice, the less confined you will be within the relationship. Moving on. Are y'all still with me? Okay. I hope this is meaningful and relevant. Get you a sip of water. Take a sip. I'm going to take a sip. Take a bigger sip than I took. Okay. So in my vision for what I know and the person who I'm already connected to that I might not have even met yet, or maybe I have met and the time isn't right at this point in our lives. I know exactly what that would look like in terms of the bond and the connection. And that's something that I'm manifesting. And that's something that I'm already working on between us, whether we have already met or not. You know how, Sierra talks about her vision, right? Or her prayer. And Kelly Rowland talks about her prayer. And I think even Lala Anthony talks about her prayer. They ain't the only ones with a prayer, honey. Because I got a prayer too. Maybe my life partner, unbeknownst to me, listens to this podcast or watches this podcast on YouTube. And maybe he be wondering like, dang, what's that? Why do I be feeling so tingly in the morning? That's because I'm praying on us, honey. That's because I'm working on us right now, boo. Shoot, I'm working on us. I'm manifesting on our relationship, the success of it right now. And I know that when the time is right, no sooner and no later, I know that the right things is going to happen. Whether it be that I understand, part of my prayer is let me recognize it when it arrives to me. Part of the habit and the ritual is knowing it, right? Because at this point, I think that I'll tell you, for me personally, I think it started with the prayer. Right? It started with me writing out the affirmations and the intentions and the vision and the prayer so specifically, the type of father that he already is, right? To his children and to my children, what kind of a lover, partner, friend that he is, and that I will get to appreciate and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like the type of a connection and a bond that we already have that maybe has not yet been like revealed to me, but that already exists because I'm working on myself and how I am present and the way that I'm vulnerable and soft and practicing the way that I practice talking about hard things, right? Like, and I expect and understand that my life partner is going to have practice and willingness and openness in doing those things too. We'll both choose each other every single day, and part of that is choosing each other now. I'm single. You know what I'm saying? Like single, like not single like 80% or 90%. Like I'm single. You know what I'm saying? And it's a matter of still knowing that this right here is a working phase. This is part of the work for the next part of the journey, whatever that looks like, for the greater good. This, and then after this is something even better than this, something wilder than my imagination, wilder than what I can dare dream or desire, but that I deserve and require. You know what I'm saying? And these are all written things. And part of the written part is the practice, is the affirmation, is the saying it out loud every single day. It gives me strength. Okay? Because I tell you, I ain't never been celibate or abstinent for this long in my adult life. Like since I have, became sexually active when I was a teenager, never as an adult have I been celibate for this long, but never has it been so solid. Never has it been without waver, with so much purpose and intention, because I know exactly what I'm manifesting. I know with certainty. Never has it been so profound and so direct. The calling, the understanding, the purpose, everything behind it is guided. So because it was put on me that way, there's no hesitation or doubt. There's no confusion, no uncertainty. There is none of that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, do I have times where I feel lonely? Yeah. Like, is there times sometimes where I'm like, I would love to have the company of a companion, but I know that is something that is not too far off for me. Yes, a companion. However, here, let me put it like this. It's like, yeah, are there times where I'm like, oh man, I would love to have the company of a companion? I sure would, but not just any companion. Okay. The company of a companion who qualifies for the job. The company of a companion who is specifically looking for me. What did Lil Wayne say? I heard you was looking for me. That, okay, who looking for me, okay? On the Carter 3, I heard you was looking for me. You looking for me? I'm here. I'm right here, okay? So when people be like energy, like that's the type of energy I'm talking about, okay? That's the type of energy. I would say for me, part of it came with the written affirmation, with me writing it. And I wrote it in March of 2021. I sat down, and then it was in November of 2020. Okay, this is January 2022. Okay, so November of 2021, I was just generally writing. And was it in this notebook? It was in this journal. I was writing, I said, was it in this one or this is the new one? This was the one that I opened after that. Yeah. So my other journal, I wrote in, oh no, it was this one. It was December 12/2/2020, 10:26 p.m. I was listening to binaural beats, sitting in the bed, fresh out of the shower. Dear Keena, what do you want? Great question. I haven't asked myself this in a while. I noticed I must have been on autopilot for a while, doing busy work or just doing in a way that I've been lost and therefore stagnant. I just finished chanting aloud mantras for clarity. Before I did a 7-minute shower meditation and I arrived here, not knowing or having thought about what I want, lost and without aim or direction. Time to change that and figure out what I want in. And I proceeded to write a list of 40 things in my life, areas that I wanted to be specific and intentional in, right? Business, family, wellness, love, finances, community, creativity, personal development, spirituality, focus, presence, peace, routines, rituals, healing, care, consistency, relationships, stability, goals, dreams, desires, circle, passive income streams, fitness, meditation, health, daily practice, follow up, follow through, accountability, interdependence, softness, ease, use of my voice, movement in my purpose, serving and lifting my people, leadership, expansion. And then I would have gone on to put authenticity. Okay, I wrote that. And my golly gee willikers, that was December 2nd. And exactly 1 month later, oh my God, I'm just now looking at this again. 1 month later, I went on to my 300-hour yoga teacher training, which in other cases, I would have had to travel to like India, Peru to take the training. But I did it from my home living room and I knew that I was going to be transformed. I didn't know how, but I knew I was going to be transformed. And I was scared. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a new person, a better person, a person who I want to be, but it's going to be scary. And I cried more last year than I've cried in my life. All right. I went through so many cleanses and washes, not in the sense of like detox through food or whatever, but of the mind. And I got rid of so much excess, you know what I mean? And then I was left with like the bare basics, the root, the skeleton. And so then I was able to add in the things that I wanted to add into myself, you know, like being intentional. This is the way I want to think. This is the way that I want to be a friend. This is the way that I would like to be a lover. This is the way that I would like to be a mother. This is the way that I would like to be a business owner. Here's the way I would like to spend my free time. Here's how I would like to, these are the things that I want to learn. It started with writing that in December. Okay, it started before that probably, but it started with writing that December of 2020, right? And then in 2021, writing out my prayer and then chanting it, reciting it, learning it out loud, listening to it in my headphones when I'm driving. And when I make up my mind about something, my mind is made up. Because I don't just make up my mind just for no reason. It's for purpose and intention. It's for a reason. I understand, even if no one else does. So the celibacy part, I'm going to try to tie this all in together. The celibacy part is a part of that for me because of the long-term vision and goal. That's it. Very simple. It's not for any religious purposes. It's not for marriage purposes. For me, the celibacy is because I want more than that. And I feel so strongly that if I can connect with somebody in many different areas in an intimate way through seeing and understanding each other, by being able to see one another, to build and develop a bond, to be and feel connected, to be naked in front of someone without taking off my clothes, and to be safe being naked in that way. That's a way that's very scary for many of us, right? Like, that's the reason why, again, like I say, I can't even imagine myself being with somebody who frequently does drugs or, you know, has to be drunk all the time, right? Who has to be intoxicated. Because I'm no longer interested in numbing myself or being detached or the stuff that makes it feel easy. Because I know relationships is work. And I don't mind putting in work, okay? But I also need it to be reciprocal. To me, I feel like I associate that with, we're going to say SLS, okay? SLS stands for surface level shit. SLS. I'm not interested in having a relationship full of that. I'm interested in having a relationship where, we can be vulnerable, transparent, open. Because when I think about the relationships that I have had that were the most fun, the most meaningful, the most transformative, were the relationships where we talked about the scary things, we talked about hard things, even if it was scary or hard, even if my voice trembled the entire time. And there's been friendships, relationships, whatever, however you want to put it, where one or both of us wasn't willing to be vulnerable. And personally, I don't see how you can do that, how you can have a meaningful relationship that has the nutrients to evolve if you cannot be present or in the moment, if you can't be vulnerable, if you cannot come into the room with your suitcase of all of your shit and unpack it and trust that the fun and the good, beautiful things will be celebrated and accepted, and the things that you want to let go of, that you want to free yourself from, they will also be celebrated and accepted, and you will have the freedom and the space to let go of those things. The freedom, the space, the support. Not in a trauma bond type of way, but in a way that gives you the room to be who you are, authentic and accepted. And I think for many of us, we want to be accepted when we are authentic. A lot of us are afraid to be who we are beyond the surface, beyond the niceties, our whole selves, because of the acceptance part. We want to be seen. We want to be accepted. That's a human nature thing. It's a part of human nature to be accepted and welcomed and seen, understood. It's a basic human desire. It's necessary. And a lot of the things that present themselves and are recognized as mental health diagnoses, sometimes, not a lot, but some of those stem from not being accepted. You get these labels and categorizations that you're put into instead of the focus being on accepting you for who you are and as you are. I'm not interested in any SLS relationships. I don't even like doing those things on the meet and greet. Okay, what's your name? What's your favorite color? What are the things that you like? What's your favorite things to do? Tell me all of your fun things about you in life, and then let's bond over the traumas. I don't want to do that. I want to hold space for you as you work through the traumas and as you unpack the things that no longer serve you, that you're ready to let go of, that at one point in your life, those things really protected you. They really kept you safe. They really helped you to keep going. I want you to find the space within this partnership, this union. I want you to be able to find the space to unpack those things and to float them down the river. You don't have to worry about burying those things and then them being dug up again. That's something that I desire and require for myself, and also that I have a responsibility to provide in the space, right? And I want to be able to do those things, but you can't do those in SLS relationships. And for me, an SLS relationship is one that is centered around being checked out, drugs and alcohol. Because what is the purpose of drugs and alcohol besides taking you away from whatever burdens that you're carrying? Whether it be pain, sadness, trauma, heartache, grief, checking you out of the intensity of those emotions. If you cannot feel the full depth and complexity of all of those range of emotions, how can you be fully present and find the depths and complexities of the relationship that I desire and require and deserve? To somebody who that is too much for, I would be too much for them. And that's just the way that I see it. If you feel differently, let me know. I would love to explore your perspective. Just know for me, I am experiencing the intensity of my emotions, my feelings. I'm experiencing the full intensity, the highs and the lows. I am experiencing all of that. I'm not just here in the middle. So because of that, it's not fair to you to be dealing with someone who is so intense. And it's also not fair to me to be dealing with someone who is not really there, who is checked out or who is numb. I'm going to be too much and you're not going to have enough. I'm going to be too much and you're just not going to be able to offer me enough in terms of emotional availability. Because you're not available emotionally, you're checked out. If you're emotionally unavailable, then it's what are we doing here? You should go and either decide whether or not you're ready to feel and face your emotions and work through that with a professional, and I can be there and support you and we can grow and build and evolve together. Or you can continue doing that, which brings you what you understand as security or comfort. And that's okay. It's not a right or wrong. It's just a matter of, this is where my mind is right now, and here's the way that I associate these things. Okay? There are ways that people can not be present besides just, being engaged in substance abuse. Like, people might check out in other ways, whether it be through their work or through going to the gym or through hobbies, partying. I don't know. I don't want this to be confused to think that the only way that somebody can have ways of not experiencing the intensity of their full range of emotions being just by checking out via substance abuse. There's other ways. I want to acknowledge that it's not the only way. It is just one of the ways. It becomes an issue for me if it gets in the way of processing, if it is relied upon. So it's like not a good match. It's not a good match if it's with me. If it's used for the purposes of checking out, dissociating, avoidance, if it's used for any of those type of reasons, you know what I mean? I need presence. I like I said, the intimacy. And if you understand intimacy in a way that stretches beyond the physical, I know that it exists. Everything that I desire, require, deserve, I know that it exists because I can dare dream it, because I can offer it. So it's like, if I can offer that, then I can also receive it. If my partner deserves that for me, then I also deserve that as well. Like, I'm just as worthy, just as deserving. Last year, in order to get to this place, I had to figure out and understand like what self-worth really meant for me, what it meant to really understand who I am beyond the titles. And we can talk about these things at a later time. But that is what celibacy looks like and the purpose of it for me. Okay? Does it mean that, well, I guess I would say I haven't put myself in a situation to be tested. And I think that that's also important, is like, I'm not putting myself in a position to where I'm not going to be successful. Like, I don't want to put myself in the position to be short-sighted. And I think that that's fair and acceptable, reasonable of a decision to make, because if you were in recover, and I'm not considering myself like what is it called? A nympho. I'm not considering myself anything like that, but I'm saying, let's say for an example, if you were in 12 steps AA, you're not going to put yourself in a bar. You know what I mean? Like, if your goal is to be sober, right? You're not going to put yourself in that position. So I think that for me, it's like all about setting yourself up for success and having the proper tools and mindset to do that, so that you can be successful in the way that you want to, because of what your long-term goals are. And it's like, okay, if you mess up on your goals or whatever, you can always get back in the game. You can always start over. But I just haven't put myself in a position to be tested like that. So it's like, no, like, ain't no late night Netflix and chill sessions at my crib. Like, at this point, I'm not even, like, I would like to date, but I am not even dating right now. The pandemic makes it hard. Like I said, like, I was talking to the guy on the phone who lives not here, and I was willing to go on a date with him, but I ended up saying forget the date. I just was like, no, we don't need to meet. We don't need to meet. You can't get past your head, your big head, your little head. I don't know what kind of head you got, but you can't get past that. And I was like, if anything, go ahead and masturbate before you come to the date, so that you can be present. But because if all you worrying about is you just want to touch me and you just want to know what my lips taste like and this and that and the other, then it's like, we're not in the same space. We might be sitting in front of each other, but you're not here. You ain't here. All right, so we are rounding into the last point that I would like to make in this episode today. That final point is of self-governance. Having a disciplined practice, part of practicing celibacy is a practice of discipline, is a practice of self-governance. Are you living in an impulsive state of living? Do you have an impulsive way of living? Does everything shiny, look like gold? Do you water your grass, or do you obsess over your neighbor's grass? Do you have a relationship with satisfaction, contentment, santosha? Or are you always looking for more? Like, is nothing ever enough? And if you are ever satisfied, if you ever do have enough, how do you know when enough is enough? And you learn and discover all of that through the practice of self-discipline, self-governance, right? It's a very personal practice. It's not something that anybody can do for you more than you can do for yourself. It's not something that anybody can want for you more than you want for yourself, right? I tell my son all the time, I cannot want you to have clean and healthy teeth more than you want that for yourself. So you must brush your teeth every day, but I cannot want your teeth to be healthy more than you, okay? Self-discipline, it is a practice, it is a ritual, okay? It is a habit, it is a practice of self-control, self-governance, self-discipline. And it helps you to know when enough is enough. It helps you to discover what it is that you want, what your purpose is, I think I would say. If you think about people who are not satisfied, you can imagine their appetite for whatever it is that they're yearning for being like that of a tapeworm. And if you think about what a tapeworm does, it feeds and it feeds and it feeds to the point that it causes destruction to the environment that it's feeding on, right? It causes destruction to the human that it is feeding on. You think about people who are never satisfied. I read Will Smith's book, and he talked about in his book about how nothing was ever enough, right? Like, and he has broken all of the records, and he has made all of the money and gotten all of the awards, right? And he was obsessing over, well, maybe I can make this many more on sales on the opening movie. Do you think it would have been better if we could have hit this many billion? It was never enough, right? So Will Smith in his book, if you haven't read it, it's an amazing book, read it. In his book, he talked about not being satisfied. You look at somebody's practice with self-discipline. One's relationship with discipline happens internally. It's an internal practice, just like that of satisfaction. If a person understands that true satisfaction can only be found and exist inside of you, it is not something that you have to go out and seek, or something that you have to accomplish or necessarily do in order to achieve. If you can find satisfaction, contentment within yourself, you will not have to look endlessly with an insatiable appetite for that fulfillment. You'll wake up content, you will go to sleep content, satisfied, and everything else that occurs during the day is simply icing on the cake. It adds to your already whole and complete self. I remember last year someone said to me, Keena, you are grinding so hard. Why? What are you grinding for? And I was like, dang, I was just in the cycle of grinding. I was just on autopilot. I didn't even realize that I was like, dang, like, yeah, you're right. Like, what am I doing this? Why am I grinding like this? I should take a vacation. I should enjoy life. I should set expectations and measurements for success so that I can give myself recognition for everything that I've done thus far. And to be intentional about the things that I want to do moving forward so that they are done with purpose and not falling into the patterns and cycles of being on autopilot. I didn't realize, though, that I was just on endless grind. I had not given myself a definition of what was enough, okay, until I thought about it. So, celibacy is a practice of that, right? Figuring out what satisfaction looks like. Can I figure out what that looks like for me within my own self, right? And if you think of celibacy as a prevention for cheating, you got me twisted, okay? That's 100% not what I'm saying. I'm not telling anybody. I don't think that waiting to have sex is the prescription or the remedy for preventing someone stepping out on the relationship. I don't think that. I think that cheating is no more a decision than brushing your teeth in the morning. It's an action, and there is a consequence for doing it. There's a consequence for not doing it, depending on how you look at the word of consequence being something that just is, or if you look at consequence as being a negative. If you look at it as a negative thing, then, that's your choice. But I look at consequences as a response to an action. If I brush my teeth in the morning, that's the action. And the consequence, right, or the reaction, consequences are reactions. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole right now. But if you look at prana, if you think about prana, I think about prana as action, the cycle of action and consequence. So if you brush your teeth in the morning, then that is the action. The reaction to that is that the bacteria no longer grows. The chains cannot get any larger in your mouth, and so then they cannot become stronger. They are disabled. They are disarmed. The bacteria does not have as much strength because you brushed your teeth. That is the reaction to brushing your teeth, right? It has risks and benefits, cost and reward, right? When you think about all of those things for brushing your teeth, the risks and brushing your teeth is, I guess, you could damage your gums if you're too aggressive. The rewards is that you have fresh breath, your teeth are nice and shiny, you do not have a buildup or risk of cavities, okay? If you look at cheating in the same way, okay, if you step out of the agreements of your relationship, then there is a reaction to that. You are putting yourself into a cycle where now you have to make a decision whether you're going to be honest or whether you're going to lie. You're going to probably have to deal with your conscience, your guilt, if you experience guilt, or just the fact that you have probably negatively impacted the trust and boundaries within the relationship, the sacred confinements of that. If that is your perspective on your relationship, everybody's relationship operates differently, right? But I'm just saying cheating is an action and it has a reaction. There are risks and costs and benefits, features, whatever, right? You think of the benefit of cheating. You did something probably spontaneous that maybe you were curious about, that maybe, I don't know, maybe brought you a thrill, maybe brought you regret. So they're decisions, they're conscious decisions that a person makes. It is not about if you are the person who got cheated on. Know that there is nothing that you could have done to control the other person from cheating on you. As a human, I have no interest or desire in controlling another human. I don't want to control another human. And also another human cheating is not about me. It is their decisions. It is about how they weigh their risks and benefits, how they have their own satisfaction, what that relationship with satisfaction looks like for them, contentment, santosha, what that looks like for them, how they feel about the purpose of how they show up in relationship, their own purpose in life, and their commitments to you. That is a reflection of all of those things. Those are ingredients to what I think of as a healthy monogamous relationship. If that's what you seek, the ingredients of that is having an understanding and relationship with satisfaction, with contentment, having a relationship with purpose in one's self and also in the relationship, and having a relationship with self-discipline, self-governance. Okay, I think those are ingredients that make up a healthy monogamous relationship. There's also other ingredients that are required and necessary, but I think that those are some of the ingredients to that particular part of the formula, the recipe. You don't have control over another human. You do have control over how you respond and react to that. You have control over the decisions you make with the information that you have, okay? And you could even, I guess, make decisions with information that you don't have as well. But, think of celibacy as a personal practice, and exploring that relationship between satisfaction, purpose, self-governance, okay? How do you arrive to a place of contentment within yourself? And let that be something that builds you up on how you engage in relationships with another or with others. That's the way that I look at it. Make sure you drink some water. That's going to be your prescription for the day. Drink some water. And I think the other prescription for the day is going to be to just ask yourself, this is January the 11th, I think. So I think I'm going to prescribe, be clear about what your intentions are in the areas of your life that you're working in, and not just moving on autopilot. What are you doing and why are you doing it? Are you doing things just because, just to go with the flow? Or are you doing it because there's an actual purpose behind it? What is that for you? Okay, be intentional, because what's for you is for you. And because some of us do things just because other people are doing them. That's not a reason to do it. Do it because it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't make sense to you, if you don't know why you're doing it, then get really, really, really naked with yourself and understand why I'm doing that. Okay? Oh, 111:22. I can't miss out on that opportunity to acknowledge those numbers, to acknowledge those doubles, and to speak a word over 222:22. Hey, now. All right, because I claim, receive, and affirm as God sees fit, and with my understanding that all things are working and conspiring in my favor, and that what I seek is seeking me. Therefore, I attract magnetically and energetically simply by my authentic and transparent being. That I welcome all of the magic, all of the smoke, all of the intimacy, the energy, the curiosity that in divine timing placed and ordered for me on my behalf. And I affirm the same on behalf of the listeners who are in ear's reach of my voice. Let the listeners of this episode recognize, welcome, and receive the manifestations that you are working on in this very moment in your life, that you deserve, that you desire, that you require. Let them come into fruition by or before 222:22. Okay? Let the listeners of this episode not go through another cuffing season or an application process that results in nothing less than the Super Bowl championship ring. Okay? Let the listeners of this episode and myself secure the position of co-CEO, okay, of the empire that you are destined to build with your lifetime bae, all right, including me too, the life partner, your best friend for life in this adventurous journey called life, okay, ashe. And so it is said, it is spoken, and gosh darn it, write it down, it is done, all right? Deep breath. All right. If this resonated with you, if it was interesting to you, if you took something away from it, or if your own understanding or awareness has expanded, definitely let me know and share it with somebody. Have discussions around it. Extend the conversation beyond this moment. Talk to somebody about it. This podcast is available on all of the podcast platforms, including Spotify, the top one, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, and all of those other in-betweens. It's on all of those platforms, okay? And then the YouTube episodes come out as well. You'll always find the episodes very first on my Patreon. The link to everything is below. If you want to support this podcast in a non-monetary way, go ahead and give a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to this on, and share it. Share it with somebody who you think about when you listen to this. Share it with somebody and give me that 5-star rating. And that's how I know it's real. That's how I know it's real. Okay? Leave a review or something. I don't know. Do something, okay? I'm Keena SFA on all platforms. Keena Sam Frank Alice SFA. Keena SFA on all my platforms. Thanks for coming, y'all. Stay rougy. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode and look forward to what is next, take this moment to follow, share with someone who might enjoy this, and subscribe. Let's close out this time spent with a breath of closure. Close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Inhale through the nose. Slowly release the breath from the body. Until next time, thank you.